Like so many art people, I'm a fan of anime.
Pika pika!
These donuts are great! Jelly-filled are my favorite! Nothing beats a jelly-filled donut.
Huh?
I have been ever since I started high school, way back around 14 years ago, before it was all that popular in the US.
What's an anime?
My whole group, well, most of us did. I'm not sure about Joe. Anyway, I was thinking about high school and realized my group of friends could very easily be made into an anime show. We really fit a few anime tropes, and I'm a crazy artist, so I thought I'd see what I can conjure up. Mayhem Bunny. Based on my high school life, Mayhem is a demon, sent to cause chaos on Earth. He was meant to possess the body of a human and manipulate people to do bad things. Problem is, he accidentally possessed the stuffed bunny of a girl named Tizzy instead.
Idiot.
No one but Tizzy can know he's not just an ordinary stuffed animal. Tizzy thinks it's a fun adventure to have a stuffed animal that came to life. She calls him Bun Bun. Don't call me Bun Bun! Mayhem doesn't like that part. Mayhem tries to get Tizzy to do bad things, to convert her to the dark side, and to corrupt her as much as he can without being caught. He doesn't want his demon boss to find out he messed up and possess a stuffed bunny. That would just be embarrassing. He can't stand being so cute.
Don't call me cute. I'm pure evil.
Tizzy doesn't just give Mayhem a nickname he can't stand. She calls William Willy all the time, and he's not a fan.
Hi, Willie.
No!
Willy is in the friend group, but he's not as into crazy antics as Tizzy is. But he always manages to get sucked into everything anyway. However, he always has the biggest reactions to everything. He's a dramatic guy. There's always something to be upset or shocked about. Unless he is in zone-out mode, there is no in-between. Alice, on the other hand, is always in a good mood. She will likely give you something full of sugar. She loves to bake and share her creations with everyone.
I made chocolate chip cookies. Who wants some? I mean, brownies too.
If Tizzy and William get into an argument, they go to Alice to have her break up the fight. And they get into fights a lot. She always tries to get Tizzy to stay out of trouble, despite Mayhem trying his best to get her into trouble. Alice's little hamster Cookie knows Mayhem the bunny is alive and doing bad things. He's always catching him moving around and telling Tizzy to do bad things. While Alice is busy trying to stop her, Cookie is busy trying to get Mayhem caught.
It's the bunny! I promise! Look what he's doing! Ah!
But no one ever notices in time before he pretends to be a toy again. Last is shy little Laura. She's quiet and always reading a book, writing a story, or drawing a picture. She sees and hears all, but rarely gets involved. She's too scared to break up the fighting, but she will write about it.
Hi, I wrote a story. Do you want to read it? I made a picture too. Sorry.
What no one else knows is she's the one writing the story. If it wasn't for her, everything would stop happening, and they'd all find themselves in a blank void of nothingness. So, when you see her with her head down writing, she's paying attention. Trust me. The show is based on some pretty well-known anime and pop culture tropes for each of us. Alice is based off my friend Sandra. Her trope is the sweet baker. According to tvtropes.org, when people think of baking, they often think of their mother's fresh chocolate chip cookies, warm loaves of bread, and sugary cakes. It's linked to sweets, motherhood, childhood, nostalgia, and hard, passionate work. It's no wonder the characters who like to bake are often portrayed as just as sweet as the food they're making. Female bakers will be cute and caring. They're often portrayed as idealistic, friendly, and passionate about their craft. Willie is based off my ex-friend Joe. His trope is the ridiculously average guy. It's not an insult, that's actually what it's called on the website, I swear. It's literally a picture of Joe. Wow, okay. The ridiculously average guy is pretty much the middle of the road in all things. He's not ugly, but he's not particularly handsome. He's not a moron, but he's not one of the best in the class either. But he's not portrayed as aggressively or particularly stupid either. He has no special powers. He's not a complete weakling, but neither does he excel at any physical activities. Of course, considering that he winds up completely and totally overshadowed in almost all things by everyone around him, pretty much everyone around him will constantly be telling him just what a loser he is. And the ridiculously average guy usually has very little, if anything, to say in his defense. Tizzy is based on my old friend Taryn. Her trope is the Genki girl. I hope I'm pronouncing that right, the Genki girl, otherwise known as the energetic girl. The Genki girl is a character, usually a schoolgirl, possessed of an overabundance of energy, such as she runs everywhere, often with arms waving wildly, or outstretched like airplane wings, speaks quickly, often unintelligibly so, and always does everything fast, fast, fast. She's filled with confidence and determination. She is very often a motor mouth or nicknamer. To sum up, a good way of telling whether a female character is Genki or not is to see her family and peers are exhausted, astonished, or even creeped out by her chronic outbursts of vitality. Laura is based on me. My trope is the shrinking violet. This won't be fun to read. Painfully shy and quiet, the shrinking violet is the withdrawn character, usually but not always female, who walks through school hallways with her head down, wants nothing more than to blend in with the scenery, to avoid all attention, because she believes that her presence is worthless or unwanted. Often the quiet one. Expect her to apologize a lot. She will usually be better than average in scholastic classes. Bonus points if she has long dark hair that hides her eyes. The reasons for her lack of self-confidence vary, but they usually include intimidation or bullying by the popular ones, or in more dramatic cases, a personal event that convinced her that she would be better off if she just shut up. In other cases, the shrinking violet actually manages to avoid the brunt of fights and taunts that more vocal outcasts take, presumably because she's so quiet that she may as well be invisible. Mayhem I made up, but he is based on many jokes that Taryn made about loving bunnies, and her shouting, "World domination!
World domination!
So I came up with a character just to explain that. Cookie is also made up. He's an extension of Sandra, and all the stress she felt when Taryn would do crazy things, and she'd feel responsible for stopping her. As much fun as I have coming up with this concept, making these characters, I also know that living this in high school wasn't fun. The four of us felt such a responsibility to keep up with these tropes. No one specifically told us be an anime trope, but there was this unspoken, and sometimes spoken, rule that we all had a role in the group that we had to stick to, or risk being kicked out of the group. My old friend Taryn loved anime more than any of us. She had this huge manga collection, and she probably knew more anime shows than the rest of us combined. Which on its own, that's cool, but the problem was, it seemed like she wanted to live in anime too. Sometimes it felt like she based her personality off anime tropes she liked. It also led to a pretty bad habit of kicking people when she decided they were mean. She put herself in a box thinking that's what she needs to be for people to like her.
Every time you compliment me, I get another highlight in my eye.
And unfortunately, she seemed to decide on tropes for the rest of us too.
Don't be yourself.
I think we've all tried to script our lives at some point. I once tried to be Hermione from Harry Potter, to get myself to raise my hand in class more often. I just realized really fast that wasn't going to work. So I understand what Taryn's coming from. It sounds comforting to just pick the kind of character you want to be, and just base everything you and your group do off that, together, and have good chemistry. Real people are messy. They might fight. Not funny fights like on TV, but fights that lead to something that ends the friendship. They might change and ruin any plans you have for the future. Taryn, more than anything, wanted to make our friend group stay together as long as possible. Safest thing to do is to decide everyone needs to say in their anime trope, right?
That would be sort of depressing.
Except, making all of us, including herself, stay in these boxes is part of what made the friendship feel more like work than fun for all of us.
You can't do that. You're stereotyping them and you'll never see the person inside.
I don't understand what you're trying to say.
I'm not just a shy, timid girl with slightly above average grades and a face hidden by hair. Were those things mostly true? Yeah, I can't really deny that reading that felt a little too close to home. But even back then, there was more to me than that. No one can fit neatly into a character trope like that. But anytime me or Sandra did anything that didn't belong to our character description, we'd be told we're wrong.
You can't undo who you are.
I don't like rock music. I clearly don't understand what the words are even saying. Sandra doesn't like computers. She obviously doesn't understand how complicated computers are. Good thing we had Taryn to remind us of that. Anytime I wanted to get a new haircut, or try a new type of clothing, or learn something new, there was Taryn, reminding me of who I'm supposed to be.
Welcome to high school hell.
And how those things aren't for me, and at the same time, the same thing happened to Sandra.
Baby!
Alex, hey, how was school?
Sucked.
I can only imagine the things Taryn would say to herself if she did those things to us. I'm making this video not to say Taryn was a bad person for this. I'm making this video for anyone who feels like they fell into this trap. You can't script your personality after a character trope you relate to or like a lot, and you can't do that to your friends either.
I don't want to see any more anime stuff.
Not only does it not work forever, but it'll probably do the opposite of what you want. I think Taryn did it to have a sense of control, to hold things together, but it didn't stop the group from falling apart. There's no telling what would have happened if we were all allowed to be ourselves.
Be yourself. Be yourself.
I know it sounds corny, but it would have been a lot better than having to pretend all the time.
No, the world would be such a better place.
So if you ever find yourself wishing you were more like your favorite anime character, or that your life was more like an exciting anime show,
Forget. Believe in yourself. That is your magic.
it's okay to love anime. It's even okay to be inspired by anime. But I promise you, you're infinitely more interesting than you and your friends would be if you were trying to be an anime brought to life.
Take a good look at the person inside and get to—
If you've ever done something like this before, tell me what happened in the comments. Maybe sometime I'll tell you what happened with my Hermione story. It wasn't long, but it was embarrassing enough. And give this video a like if you'd watch Mayhem Bunny if it was a real anime. It wasn't fun to live it, but it would be a lot of fun if it was a cartoon. Don't forget to subscribe and ring the bell so you never miss what I'll conjure up next. See you in the next one. Bye, guys.